In every relationship, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, we seek genuine connection, trust, and care. But sometimes, the signs of true affection aren't as obvious as we might hope. Instead, subtle patterns can emerge that indicate someone may not truly care about you, even though they may claim otherwise. These signs can often go unnoticed, especially if we are emotionally invested in the relationship. However, recognizing them can be life-changing, helping us understand our worth and guiding us toward healthier, more fulfilling connections. In this video, we'll explore 7 signs that they don't care about you from C.S. Lewis' perspective, with insights drawn from the wisdom of C.S. Lewis. These signs might be hard to spot, but once you recognize them, you'll be empowered to set boundaries, prioritize your well-being, and foster relationships that truly nurture your soul. Let's dive into these crucial signs that can shape your journey to emotional and spiritual clarity. Sign 1. They're dismissive of your feelings. One of the clearest signs someone doesn't genuinely care about you is their dismissal of your feelings. When you express your emotions, be it joy, sadness, frustration, or fear, and are met with indifference or defensiveness, it reveals a lack of empathy and investment in your well-being. Being dismissive can take many forms. They might interrupt you, minimize your concerns, or completely change the subject when you're trying to open up. For example, you may share a problem that's weighing heavily on your heart, only for them to respond with, "You're overreacting," or "It's not that big of a deal." Such responses can leave you feeling invalidated, isolated, and emotionally disconnected. C.S. Lewis, in his writings on love and relationships, emphasized the importance of understanding and caring for others beyond superficial gestures. True care, he argued, requires active listening and the willingness to enter into someone else's emotional world, even when it's uncomfortable. When someone dismisses your feelings, they're essentially choosing convenience over compassion. From a Christian perspective, this behavior is the opposite of what Scripture calls us to embody in our relationships. In James 1 verse 19, we're instructed to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. This verse highlights the importance of truly hearing and understanding others. Dismissiveness, on the other hand, signals impatience, pride, or even indifference, all of which hinder authentic, Christ-like love. Furthermore, dismissing someone's feelings can erode trust over time. When you feel unheard or misunderstood, you may begin to question your value in the relationship. This can create a cycle where you hesitate to share your thoughts, fearing they'll be invalidated once again. Over time, this dynamic leads to emotional distance and loneliness. It's important to recognize that everyone has moments when they may not fully engage with others' emotions due to their own stress or distractions. However, if dismissiveness becomes a pattern, it's a sign of deeper issues. A caring person will acknowledge when they've fallen short and make an effort to be more present and empathetic. Ultimately, love is patient and kind, and true care requires intentionality in how we treat others. If someone consistently dismisses your feelings, it's worth reflecting on whether they are truly invested in your emotional well-being. Sign 2. They take without giving. A significant sign that someone doesn't care about you is when a relationship becomes one-sided. They consistently take from you without giving in return. Healthy relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, are meant to be reciprocal. Each person should contribute to the relationship, offering support, kindness, and effort. However, when someone only takes, it reveals a lack of genuine care and a self-centered mindset. This behavior often manifests subtly at first. Perhaps you're the one always reaching out, planning time together, or offering emotional support, while they rarely reciprocate. Over time, this imbalance becomes glaringly obvious. They may expect you to drop everything to help them in their time of need, but fail to be there when you need them. They might happily accept your acts of kindness, but show little interest in returning the favor. C.S. Lewis, in his exploration of love in the Four Loves, warned against relationships that become parasitic. He explained that love, in its truest form, is self-giving and mirrors God's love for humanity. When someone takes without giving, they are not engaging in love. They are using others for their own benefit. This behavior can be exhausting and demoralizing for the giver. It can leave you feeling drained, unappreciated, and taken advantage of. Worse still, the taker may try to justify their actions, framing the imbalance as normal or even blaming you for expecting too much. From a Christian perspective, relationships should reflect the selflessness modeled by Christ. Philippians 2 verse 4 teaches, "Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others." True care involves a balance of giving and receiving, rooted in mutual respect and love. A person who consistently takes without giving demonstrates a lack of regard for this principle and, by extension, for you. While it's natural for the balance of giving and receiving to fluctuate in times of need, like supporting a friend through a tough season, a pattern of one-sidedness over time is a red flag. Relationships should uplift and strengthen both parties, not leave one perpetually depleted. If you find yourself in such a dynamic, it's important to set boundaries and reflect on the health of the relationship. True care is about partnership, not exploitation, and someone who genuinely values you will strive to contribute as much as they receive. Sign 3. They don't value your time. Time is one of the most precious gifts we can offer to someone, as it reflects our priorities and commitment. When someone cares about you, they will value your time by being intentional, reliable, and present in your interactions. However, if someone consistently disrespects your time, whether by being late, canceling plans frequently, or showing a lack of interest in spending time with you, it's a clear sign they don't genuinely care about you. This lack of care can manifest in various ways. For instance, they may repeatedly show up late to appointments or forget about commitments altogether, leaving you feeling unimportant and overlooked. You might notice that they rarely initiate plans or spend time with you only when it's convenient for them. These behaviors send a message: your time is not as valuable as theirs. C.S. Lewis, in his writings, described love as something that involves sacrifice and intentionality. True care is shown when we willingly inconvenience ourselves to prioritize others. Someone who values your time demonstrates that they see you as an important part of their life and are willing to make an effort to nurture the relationship. From a Christian perspective, valuing someone's time is a reflection of respect and love. Ephesians 5 verses 15 to 16 reminds us to be careful how you live, making the most of every opportunity. When someone doesn't value your time, they disregard not only the effort you make to spend it with them, but also the biblical principle of using time wisely and purposefully. Over time, their disregard for your time can lead to frustration, resentment, and even self-doubt. You may start questioning whether you're asking for too much or whether your presence truly matters to them. However, it's essential to remember that someone who cares about you will prioritize your time as much as their own. It's also important to note that valuing someone's time isn't just about punctuality or scheduling. It's about being fully present in the moments you share, putting away distractions, listening actively, and making the most of the time spent together. If someone consistently fails to value your time, it's a sign they may not see you as a priority. Healthy relationships require mutual respect and effort, and someone who truly cares will ensure that your time together is meaningful and valued. Sign 4. They don't celebrate your successes. One of the clearest signs that someone doesn't genuinely care about you is their inability or unwillingness to celebrate your successes. Successes, big or small, are milestones in your life, and someone who cares deeply about you will feel joy and pride in your achievements. They will share in your excitement, offer encouragement, and provide support. However, if they downplay or ignore your successes, it reveals a lack of investment in your happiness or well-being. When someone doesn't celebrate your victories, it could show that they're either indifferent or even resentful of your achievements. Instead of congratulating you, they may shift the focus to themselves, make sarcastic comments, or act as though it's not a big deal. For example, if you get a promotion at work, they might make a passing remark like, "Well, it's about time," or brush it off entirely as if it doesn't matter. These responses signal that they either don't care about your growth or are unwilling to celebrate your progress because it highlights their own insecurities or jealousy. C.S. Lewis often emphasized that love is inherently selfless and that true affection for someone involves taking joy in their successes, not viewing them as a threat. In his book, The Four Loves, Lewis discussed how real love is about rejoicing in the good things that happen to others, especially the people we care about. A genuine relationship will include shared joy and the kind of encouragement that fosters mutual growth. From a Christian perspective, the Bible calls us to rejoice with those who rejoice. Romans 12 verse 15. This verse highlights the importance of celebrating the happiness and success of others. If someone fails to rejoice with you, it's an indication that their feelings toward you may not be rooted in genuine care or love. Instead of supporting you, they might be consumed with envy or bitterness, both of which are contrary to the values of Christian love. When your achievements are met with indifference or negativity, it can leave you feeling unsupported and even doubt whether the relationship is truly healthy. Success should be a time to strengthen bonds, not weaken them. If someone who claims to care about you doesn't share in your joy, it's a red flag that their feelings may not be as genuine as you hoped. Healthy relationships involve mutual celebration, and someone who truly cares will want to see you thrive and succeed. Sign 5. They avoid vulnerability. Vulnerability is a crucial element of any deep and meaningful relationship. It requires openness, honesty, and the willingness to show one's true self, flaws, fears, insecurities, and all. When someone truly cares about you, they are willing to be vulnerable and let their guard down, sharing their innermost thoughts and emotions. However, if someone avoids vulnerability, it often indicates a lack of emotional investment or a reluctance to form a deeper connection with you. This avoidance can manifest in various ways. They might shut down whenever you try to have a meaningful, heart-to-heart conversation or deflect the topic by changing the subject. They may make light of serious discussions, using humor as a defense mechanism to avoid facing their own emotions. In more extreme cases, they may completely withdraw from any emotional exchange, choosing instead to keep everything superficial and distant. C.S. Lewis, in his writings on relationships, emphasized that love requires openness and trust. In his book, The Four Loves, Lewis talks about how love allows for vulnerability, where both parties are able to share their weaknesses and fears. He describes vulnerability not as a sign of weakness, but as a cornerstone of a deeper connection. Someone who avoids being vulnerable with you is, in essence, preventing the relationship from growing and flourishing into something meaningful. From a Christian perspective, vulnerability is encouraged as part of the biblical call to honesty and transparency in relationships. In James 5 verse 16, we're urged to confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. This implies not only being open about our mistakes and struggles, but also being vulnerable with one another in a spirit of mutual care and healing. A person who avoids vulnerability is distancing themselves from the type of genuine, healing connection that God desires for all His people. When someone consistently avoids being vulnerable, it can create emotional distance between the two of you. Without vulnerability, the relationship may remain shallow, never allowing you to truly know each other at a deeper level. It can leave you questioning whether they trust you, care about you, or value your emotional connection. True intimacy in any relationship is built on mutual vulnerability. If someone continually avoids it, it's a sign that they may not be ready or willing to engage in a deeper, more meaningful relationship with you. Healthy relationships require openness and trust, and someone who truly cares about you will be willing to be vulnerable, showing you their true self in a way that strengthens your bond. Sign 6. They're quick to blame, but slow to forgive. One of the most telling signs that someone doesn't care about you is their tendency to quickly blame others, including you, while being slow to forgive. Healthy relationships thrive on grace, understanding, and the ability to move past mistakes. However, when someone is quick to assign blame and reluctant to extend forgiveness, it can signal a deeper issue of emotional immaturity or a lack of empathy, both of which indicate that they may not genuinely care about your well-being or the health of the relationship. When someone is quick to blame, they often deflect responsibility, unwilling to acknowledge their own role in a disagreement or problem. They may accuse you of wrongdoing, even when the situation is more complex, or when you have already made efforts to make amends. For instance, if there's a misunderstanding or conflict, instead of seeking resolution, they might accuse you of being the sole cause, refusing to consider their own actions or any outside circumstances. This behavior creates an environment where you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells, fearing the next time you'll be blamed for something out of your control. C.S. Lewis touched on the concept of blame and forgiveness in his exploration of love. He noted that love requires humility and a willingness to see beyond personal faults and imperfections. In relationships, the ability to accept responsibility and show grace toward one another is a critical component of nurturing a lasting bond. When someone consistently blames you without considering their part, it shows that they lack the maturity and self-awareness to foster genuine care. In contrast, forgiveness is a cornerstone of Christian teaching. The Bible repeatedly calls believers to forgive others as Christ has forgiven them. In Matthew 18 verses 21 to 22, Jesus instructs, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times, indicating that forgiveness should be boundless." Someone who is slow to forgive demonstrates an unwillingness to live out this principle, holding on to grudges and bitterness instead of releasing them through grace. When a person is quick to blame but slow to forgive, it can create tension and resentment in the relationship. Instead of learning from mistakes and growing together, the relationship becomes stagnant, built on mistrust and hurt. Forgiveness is not just about letting go of the past. It's about restoring connection and moving forward with renewed understanding and compassion. In any healthy relationship, both parties should be willing to admit their mistakes and forgive each other. If someone refuses to forgive and is quick to blame, it suggests that they are not committed to nurturing a loving, supportive relationship with you. Sign 7. They don't walk alongside you spiritually. One of the most significant signs that someone may not truly care about you is their failure to walk alongside you spiritually. In relationships that are built on love and mutual respect, especially Christian relationships, a deep sense of spiritual partnership is essential. When someone is unwilling to share in your spiritual journey, support you in your faith, or join you in prayer, it can indicate a lack of genuine care for your well-being and growth as an individual. Spiritual partnership involves more than just respecting one another's beliefs. It's about actively encouraging and supporting each other in your walk with God. For instance, a person who truly cares about you will pray for you, with you, and be interested in your spiritual life. They will encourage you when you're struggling with doubts or challenges and celebrate the moments of spiritual growth with you. However, someone who doesn't care about your spiritual well-being may avoid these conversations, dismiss your faith as unimportant, or, worse, actively try to hinder your relationship with God. This lack of spiritual support is particularly important in a Christian context. The Bible calls believers to be united in their faith, with verses like Ecclesiastes 4 verses 9 to 10 saying, "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up." A truly loving relationship, especially in a Christian setting, involves walking together through both spiritual highs and lows, offering mutual encouragement and lifting one another in times of spiritual weakness. C.S. Lewis also touched on the importance of shared faith in relationships. In The Four Loves, Lewis discusses how love should elevate both individuals, making them better versions of themselves, spiritually and morally. He emphasized that the true joy of love is found in shared purpose and spiritual harmony. When one person in a relationship does not walk alongside the other spiritually, it can lead to a disconnect that diminishes the depth of the relationship. Spiritually, you're called to build one another up, share wisdom, and strengthen each other's faith. If someone does not support you in your spiritual journey, it shows they might not truly value that aspect of who you are. Instead of growing closer through shared faith, the relationship may become emotionally isolated or spiritually stagnant. A true, caring relationship involves walking alongside each other, not only in life's challenges, but also in the pursuit of God's calling. If someone refuses to engage with you spiritually or neglects this aspect of your connection, it's a clear indication that their care for you is limited and doesn't extend to your most important spiritual needs. Recognizing the signs that someone doesn't truly care about you can be difficult, but it's a vital step toward fostering healthier, more meaningful relationships. Whether it's through dismissing your feelings, failing to celebrate your successes, or avoiding vulnerability, these behaviors can significantly impact your emotional well-being. By understanding these signs and aligning with the wisdom of C.S. Lewis and Christian teachings, we can gain the clarity needed to make informed decisions about who we allow in our lives. Remember, relationships should bring out the best in us, not leave us feeling drained or unappreciated. As we seek connections that are grounded in love, trust, and mutual respect, let's not be afraid to set boundaries and walk away from those who don't value us. Your worth is immeasurable, and by recognizing these signs, you're taking the first step toward nurturing relationships that truly reflect that value.